Can I have a motion that the board enter public session? Mr. Reinhardt? Ms. Manchella, all in favor? The vote is unanimous. The board is now back in public session. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone, for being here. We will start our night with our GC Pride Awards.
Do not always get along. All right. Good evening, Superintendent Ball, President Coffey, Vice President Richards, members of the Board of Education, and District Cabinet. I have the pleasure of introducing you to our first 6 Spartan Pride Awards tonight. First, I'd like to introduce you to Mr. Guy Ramsahai, Teacher Aide. Guy is truly the heart of Paul Road. He builds genuine connections with every student and every staff member, and his positivity and tireless work ethic lift our entire building each day. Guy never hesitates to step in whenever needed, often going above and beyond, even working during breaks. Simply because he cares so deeply about our school community, and I dare say probably the second most popular staff member at our building. You'll learn about the first a little later. Another staff member who makes an incredible difference for our students every day is Mr. Steve Needhawk. Steve has a remarkable ability to connect with students and make learning both meaningful and fun. His students look forward to working with him because he brings energy, creativity, and persistence to every lesson. Steve also models what it means to be a lifelong learner, arriving before the sun rises each day, ready to give his students his very best. Next, we would like to recognize someone whose dedication to Paul Road spans decades, Teresa Anello. Teresa's story with Paul Road began in 1990 when her daughter first enrolled here as a kindergartner, marking an incredible 36 years of dedication to this community. Throughout that time, she's given not only her work, but also her heart, generously sharing her time and energy to support students, colleagues, and our school. Her kindness, commitment, and love for Paul Road will leave a lasting legacy. Teresa will be retiring at the end of this school year. Finally, we would like to recognize a group whose partnership helps make everything we do possible. Our Paul Road Family Association leaders, Mrs. Galvano, Mrs. Haffey, and Ms. Mascanano. These 3 parents have been pillars of the Paul Road community for many years, supporting our school long before Mrs. Kataya or I even started there. With multiple children having come through our building, they have consistently shown up, leading fundraising efforts, volunteering their time, serving on committees, and finding thoughtful ways to show appreciation for our staff. Their partnership and dedication help make Paul Road the special place that it is. I'm not sure what we would do without them. These individuals represent some of the very best of the Paul Road community. Their commitment, kindness, and willingness to go above and beyond make a lasting difference for our students and our school.
We would also like to recognize 6 students. We have asked our classroom teachers to nominate 1 student at each grade level who really, truly exemplifies each and every day our Spartan Way values. These are students who are true leaders in their grade level. They are kind and compassionate to their peers and their teachers. They are working so hard academically every day. They are showing respect. They are being responsible. They are showing up to school with a smile on their face. So we would like to recognize kindergartner Ishani. Come on up, Ishani. First grader, Jazzy. Second grader, Tenley. Third grader, Victoria. Fourth grader, Layla. And fifth grader, Serafina. It is a strange coincidence that during Women's History Month, all of our lovely Panthers being honored here today are ladies. Congrats, ladies. We're going to take a group picture over here, all right? Head on that way.
Families and staff, if you would like to go over and take pictures of your loved ones, you are more than welcome to. This is something to be proud of. Thank you, everybody, for all of your hard work and commitment to our school. We really appreciate it. Now, moving us forward to agenda changes.
Yes, President Coffey, we have agenda changes to personnel and action items. Thank you.
Thank you. So that moves us now to our board president comments. I wanted to take a minute to welcome everybody that's here. We have so many families and students and staff here from Paul Road and other places throughout our school community. Thank you guys for taking the time to really be here and honor the work your kids are doing and just be able to celebrate with us. We really appreciate your time, especially on a busy weeknight. I loved seeing on my way in athletes outside, students outside, people walking, getting to enjoy some of our fields. It's so nice to feel that little bit of sunshine and warmth. It kind of wears on you this time of year, so it's nice to have that little refresh. I wanted to just take a minute of gratitude for the variety of extracurricular opportunities we've really built and support together over the years. And one of the things I've noticed as my kids have gone through school here is that we've worked to really respond to who the kids are that are with us each day, what their needs and interests are. And if there's not an activity currently existing that supports someone's interest, knowing that your teachers or your principals or different people on the administrative team will really work to try and help make that happen when possible. Some examples that just jumped out in my life are the district chorus. My little sixth grader, who thinks she's not very little anymore, has been practicing for that and just talking about all the songs that they're learning to sing together. Opportunities to participate in DECA for my less social high schooler and still being able to show off those skill areas. And one of our board members who happens to be ill tonight shared just a lot about Odyssey of the Mind over the past couple weeks and wanted to really give a shout out to the staff and the students and families that have been a part of that, and just the amount of time and effort it takes to put all these pieces together for these kids to really shine and develop their confidence. Again, knowing that it is a really busy time of year for all of us, that budget ambassadors have started, so really working on that planning and communicating together, because things like the budget, even though they're kind of, well, boring sometimes and not always our favorite part. Yes, I said that about numbers, sorry. Some people really like numbers. But knowing how important it is to each of our lives and each of our kids' lives, and just the commitment that our community and staff take to make sure that we're supporting all of our kids. So thank you again, everyone. Do we have any additional points of interest? Ms. Davis?
I had the opportunity over the last couple weeks to volunteer at concessions for multiple sectional events that were happening over at the high school because we have the best facilities in the area, so we get to host a lot. But I just want to say what a great job all the staff did, security, the yellow coats, everyone over there did a really great job, kept things running smoothly, so big thanks to all of them.
Thank you. Dr. Richards and then Ms. Manchella?
I had the opportunity and the pleasure to watch our junior Spartans play basketball this past weekend, and although they weren't successful, the teamwork and camaraderie amongst them was great to see, so go Spartans.
I was in attendance last night for the Budget Ambassadors, and there was a lot of community members there with a lot of good questions and really understanding. And I thought it was a very exciting presentation.
I appreciate that about you, and that's one of the reasons I'm glad you're on the board with me.
Thank you. And then also we recently had a meeting that I attended for the Gates Chile Education Foundation, and we were talking about the upcoming elementary school volleyball night. So I figured everybody here is probably interested in that. So that is going to be April 22nd, so make sure you put that on your calendar.
I see your principal planning right now.
We are the reigning champions.
I know you are the reigning champions. I'll say that louder for everyone to hear. So we're glad you're here and thinking ahead for it. Any additional points of interest? Thank you, guys. Any reports of meetings? Okay. Any visitor comments? All right, that moves us on to our report section, which I'm guessing is probably why many of you are here tonight. So we have our Paul Road Elementary update first.
All right, well, good evening, and thank you again for having us here tonight. We're really excited. Am I driving? Okay. We're really excited to share a little bit about all of the great things that we've been doing at Paul Road, and our student council members really set me up here because what I wanted to talk about is exactly what they talked about, which is the ways that we're building a great community at Paul Road. We have been focusing a lot on social emotional learning and building a great school environment, as well as our academics and our family engagement opportunities. And you may recall last year we launched our Panther Paws program. And so this year we've made some enhancements and we've kept that going. And I have Harini and Angelina here from our student council to tell you a little bit more about that.
When students earn a Panther Paw, they trade it in for a sticker and a marble. Voting for Marble Jar Awards encourages students to follow the Spartan way and earn Panther Paws. This has been going on for 2 years, and students and adults love it. Because of awards, teachers are proud of their students for following the Spartan way, and students have something to look forward to. The Student Council even picked some of the prize choices this year. The stickers are designed by our students too.
Hello, my name is Harini. I am here to talk about our Panther Paws program. Our Panther Paws are about when a student shows one of the Spartan Way values, they get a small note that says which value they did and traded it for a sticker and a marble. With the marble, they vote for a fun activity. The jar with the most marbles win. We talk about our prizes during assembly times and the Spartan Way. During assemblies, the Student Council also helps by running the assemblies.
As you heard, we've had a lot more student engagement and involvement this year. That was our big goal in enhancing our program. So our student council members behind me, as well as a lot of other students, the designers of the stickers that we're waiting for you, have been a really big part of that program this year. So we're very proud of that.
They look forward to the award or the winning jar each month. I think some months I hold my breath, like the time that I wasn't there and they signed up for sliming the administrators. Not quite sure how I missed signing up for that, but that was quite interesting. The kids loved that. We are very proud of 2 new additions to our Panther Paws program this year. We have introduced our Panther Pack meetings, as well as initiated a Golden Tray Lunch Incentive Program. Here to talk more about these are Roxy, Mia, and Mariah.
Hi, I'm Roxy, a member from the Student Council, and I love the Panther Pack because of all the fun activities we did and all the cool ways we introduced ourselves, and it really made me feel comfortable because of some of the kids in my group in grade I didn't know very well, but the Panther Pack helped me get to know them better and make some new friends.
Hi, my name is Mariah, and me and my friend Maya are here to talk about the golden lunch pails.
Hello, Hello, my name is Maya, and each day in the cafeteria, if our whole grade level is following the Spartan Way values, we earn a lunch pail. Once we earn 15 pails, the level gets a prize.
Some choices of prizes were choice seating, extra recess, and even the kindergartners earned a fancy lunch.
And a fancy lunch is when we come in and decorate all the tables before them for cafeteria, make it a very formal event for them. I'm proud to be able to introduce our newest and most popular, even ahead of Mr. Ramsahai, as well as our furriest new staff member, Mabel. Mabel has already made a positive impact on everyone. Here to tell you about our most loved Mabel is Coden, Maggie, and Maddie.
Mabel is a Bernese Mountain Dog, and she comes to our school every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And I can't help but notice that kids are always asking politely to pet her, and when they are petting her, they're always very gentle and kind when they're around her.
Mabel is a great dog. She is calm, nice, and so soft. When kids come up to her, they immediately feel better. Everybody loves her. She is the best dog for the school.
We do love Mabel. I think Mr. Scharf is feeling a little sad because she's getting all the love and attention and hellos in the morning now instead of him. We have to remember to say hello to Mabel and Mr. Scharf. So that's a lot about some of the social emotional things that we've been doing at Paul Road. One of the other big highlights and things we want to talk about is our academics. This is, of course, our big focus, and it's something we're really proud of. At Paul Road, we've been doing a lot of work, not only on Tier 1 instruction, but also really zooming in on students who our data shows really are in need of additional support. So last year at Paul Road, we built an SCEP plan that focuses primarily on our students in our 12-on-1 classrooms. And this year, we've been very fortunate to be able to partner with consultant Kayla Garrison from BOCES. She has been providing embedded coaching weekly to our staff, and we've already seen incredible gains, both in the knowledge and understanding and skill set of our staff and in our students and their understanding. So we're very excited about that. Across the building, though, we know that we are in year 2-ish of implementation of CKLA, and it is remarkable to see the changes in our students and the confidence in our staff with these new curricular materials. We are really proud of the growth that we've seen, and we did want to highlight just one little piece of data because it's so exciting to see. But we had, as of February, 93% of our gen ed kindergartners reading at or above grade level in reading, meeting benchmark, which is really exciting because it's setting a foundation for years and years to come. When we can exit our kindergartners where they need to be, we are setting the stage for success all the way through. So it's just so exciting to see. Beyond that, some of our intervention teachers, 2 of which we just talked about tonight because they're doing incredible work, they're working so hard in Tier 2 and Tier 3. We actually were able to dismiss 24% of our Tier 2 students and 18% of our Tier 3 students from the beginning of the year to the middle of the year. We're a little worried that we're working ourselves out of jobs in that department, but that's okay because it is what we need to do for kids. And it's really cool because we are doing all these data diffs and we can see that these students, not only were they exited from those additional supports, but they've maintained the growth that they've made. So we're growing them and we're keeping them where they are, and it's remarkable. So we're really proud of our academics. So we want to take a minute to kind of highlight all of our hard work here at Paul Road. The last thing that we wanted to talk a little bit about is our student and family engagement. This is something that we work really hard on, and we're carrying through a lot of the annual events that we've been doing, such as our Harvest Fest and our pool night and things like that, as well as getting to participate in new events, such as our homecoming parade, which was so fun this year. But I have Kristen here to tell a little bit more about that.
During the Paul Road Harvest Festival, we sold pizza and ice cream to raise money for Paul Road clubs. It helped us teach us how to interact with the public and develop social skills we can someday use for a job.
Thanks, Kristen. So it's not just about having fun, it's about building skills and connecting with community. Speaking of connecting with community, we were really excited this year to do two kind of brand new things. You heard earlier from our student council members that one of their most exciting moments and projects was building the sets for our big Sacktober event. This year our theme was Oz. We got to take a ride on a hot air balloon, which was really cool. Not really. We promised we didn't put any actual kids in the actual air, but we did get to walk inside the hot air balloon and learn all about how it works and the history behind it, which was a very cool opportunity. And last week, we hosted our first ever sensory-friendly event at Paul Road, which was so exciting for us. This event was targeted, it really planned with our 12 and 1 population in mind, because as you heard, these events are so meaningful, but sometimes they're a little bit overwhelming. We sometimes have 600 or more people in attendance at some of our bigger events throughout the year. So we had heard from some community members, especially during some of the family surveys we did through our ESSA process last year, that there was a need for something that was a little bit more targeted and a little bit more sensory friendly. So it was a super fun night. We made leprechaun sundaes and did all kinds of crafts and played bingo and had a grand old time and were able to connect with families in that way. So that's about what's new and exciting at Paul Road. Thank you all, board president and vice president and superintendent and members of the board and cabinet, for allowing us to share with you tonight.
Thank you guys so much for sharing all this with us. And for those of you that came earlier to meet with us and talk with us, we really appreciate it. Now, you guys are all welcome to stay, but you were the most exciting part of our meeting, and if any of you need to go home for dinner or anything, it's totally okay right now. We really appreciate your time. Thank you again, guys. Due to the absence of our student ex officio, we're going to move past that update and on to our budget update next.
Interesting and quick story as they funnel out of the room is I stopped over to Paul Road on Monday morning at 7:55 before staff came in. I made a beeline to Mr. Scharf's office and I said, "Where's Mabel?" And he said, "Mabel's not here on Mondays." And I was like, "Oh man, I was hoping to start my day out with a visit with Mabel, and now I'm feeling bad because nobody wants to see Mr. Scharf anymore. They only want to see Mabel." So I'm going to have to remember that in the future. You ready to get started? Okay. Good evening, President Coffey, Vice President Dr. Richards, and the Board of Education. Thank you. So I'm here, budget first. Budget. So here for a quick budget update. Tonight we're going to talk real briefly about the tax levy limit, The tax levy limit calculation was due by March 1st. It was submitted on time. The first number that you see up there is CPIU. Just a reminder that the tax cap is not a 2% levy limit. The 2% is the starting point for the calculation. And so if CPI in the prior year is more than 2%, then our base number that we start at to calculate our tax cap is 2. So that's really where the 2% comes from. If it's lower than 2, then our base to start our calculation is lower than 2. So we don't really win in any scenario. It's either 2 or lower than 2, never any higher than that as what we start out with. And then it's a calculation, and there's a number of things that come into play in terms of the calculation. The tax-based growth factor, I'm going to talk about that in a minute. That number is higher than it's been in the past. The capital exclusion, which is a small number, that's just the difference between the increase or change in payments for our capital projects or our debt service payments and the aid that comes in. So it's the difference between the two. That's a very small number. And then pilots. Pilots are payments in lieu of taxes. These are negotiated agreements between the county industrial development agency and the entity to give them reduced taxes for starting a business or keeping a business here in the Rochester area, which then the idea there is that it will create jobs and local economy, so they give them a tax break for a certain number of years. And so all of those things factor into the calculation of the tax cap. With that being said, I want to focus on that tax-based growth factor. If you'll notice, it's 1.0243. That actually means that it's 2.43% of the calculation. And so what's in that? So essentially what I'm saying is when you think about the number of starting at 2, you're adding that 2.43 to the number that you end up with in terms of the calculation. And so it raises your levy limit, right? So what's included in that tax-based growth factor, which is higher than I've seen it since starting here for sure in the last 6 or 7 budget cycles, is the tax-based growth factor is, you can see it up there, it's quantity change. And so what does that mean? It's new homes or buildings. So new things that get taxed. It's not because, as you see down in the important note, it's not because assessments changed. It's because there's new things, new homes or buildings, new commercial or industrial construction, significant physical improvements or expansions, and new taxable equipment or property additions. So it could be a property where you added in, a large addition. Somebody added in a screened porch or something. That's something that actually changes the property and thus is a new assessed portion of a property. And the reason why I'm being sure to bring this up is that this is going to be an important communication point to our community as we talk about the tax levy limit calculation, because at the end of the day, the estimated increase is a 4.8% increase, but a reminder that if you have a home or a property right now, the effective increase in taxation is 2.43%. So it's much lower than that 4.8%. A good portion of the calculation is tied specifically to new properties, and they would see the additional tax burden because they're new, and now they're going to take on some of that tax burden, not current properties. And so, again, when we do our communicating, it's going to be critically important that we share that the effective tax increase is 2.37%, not 4.8%. Any questions about that? No? Okay. Now I'm going to move on to purchase of buses because one of the resolutions for tonight is approving the bus proposition that will go out to vote as part of the referendum in May. And so one of the things that the board has to do is approve the referendum. With that being said, we have a 6-year bus replacement plan, ensuring the highest safety standards. We replace approximately 14 to 15 buses a year in our nearly 90 vehicle fleet. It goes up and down depending on the needs of the district, but it's anywhere usually between 85 and 90 vehicles. There's a sweet spot in terms of replacing buses, and what that sweet spot refers to is when the cost of upkeep intersects with the trade-in value. And so that's a little over 6 years. when that happens. And so at 6 years, we look to trade those buses in order to maximize the amount of money that we can get and reduce the amount of upkeep costs overall. There's a number of vehicles to be replaced. You can see them up there on the screen for a total value of about $311,000 in trade-in value. The buses that we're looking to purchase are 8 66-passenger diesel engine buses, 4 74-passenger buses, diesel as well, 1 35-passenger bus, and then 1 35-passenger wheelchair lift bus with the associated costs. For a total of about $2.3 million. We have seen a slight increase in bus cost over the last few years. So if you were to look back over the last few years, you'll see a slight uptick. It's not significant, but it's just a slight uptick in cost that's associated with the market. For every dollar we spend on transportation, we get 74 cents back from the state. This number has been going up in the last few number of years, which is also a reflection, frankly, of poverty in the district, that as our poverty indicators have ticked up to the point where we're about 53% disadvantaged, economically disadvantaged, that's gone up over the last few years, and what that means is that our aid ratio will go up as well. Are there any questions specific to the tax cap, bus purchase, or anything budget related? No? Okay, thanks so much. All right, now moving on to the Finance Facility and Audit Report. We met on February 23rd. We welcomed our internal auditor, Kathy Barrett, and Kathy went over an overview of the internal audit process, shared the status of the audit, talked about findings, and also we discussed a little bit about what our next area of investigation will be. The internal audit, which is another thing that we do, is the board appoints an internal auditor at the reorg meeting every year, and that person goes through all of our claims. And claims by that I mean all of the purchases. They review all the purchases of the district, and they discussed any findings with the committee. In terms of finance, we talked about state aid and some concerns around state aid, specifically the fact that right now we're at 1% in the governor's proposal. Did share that I would be meeting with Senator Cooney on March 6th, so a couple of days ago, and we had a great conversation that I'll share more with as we get a little further into the budget process, but looking to advocate for more state aid given the fact that the district has historically been left behind when looking at the increase in poverty over the years. Talked about tax exemptions and senior tax exemptions, and discussed the fact that the district is not interested in making any adjustments to that at this time. We talked about cybersecurity and some things that we're doing in terms of cybersecurity. Discussed our Building Brighter Futures project. Talked a little bit about Spartan Park and the completion of the bathroom facilities, and also Florence Brasser. We talked about the Future Ready project. Talked about demolition at the Operations Center. We talked about some work going on in the old boardroom over there, where we're going to be having essentially 2 conference rooms that will be split by like an accordion wall that can be opened and closed to make it bigger, and talked about some of the technology going into that space. We talked a little bit about solar and how the district developed a pretty robust solar project that ended up fizzling out because we didn't get the aid commitment from the state that we expected, and we did some advocacy over a year ago up in Albany, again with Senator Cooney. Through that process, somewhere along the way, the governor has picked it up, which is great news, and it was part of the governor's proposal, and so the governor said that they would be looking to fund solar projects. So hopefully that goes through and it's something that we can continue to explore. We talked about the building condition survey, the fact that we had done interviews with architects for the building condition survey, and talked about where we were at. We talked about new furniture at our elementary buildings and how it's progressing and the positive feedback that we've received in relation to that. And then we talked about the name of the Finance Facility and Audit Committee and the charter that we approve every June for the committee, and talked a little bit about the fact that at these committee meetings, we don't just talk about facilities, we also talk about school nutrition and transportation and security at times, so potentially looking to change that name going into next year to Finance Operations and Audit, because it's more broad than just facilities. And then we adjourned. Are there any questions?
No, thank you.
Thank you.
That moves us forward now to our consensus agenda. Can I have a motion to approve the consensus agenda? Dr. Richards, Ms. Jennings, any discussion? All in favor? The vote is unanimous. Can I have a motion to approve consensus items C through H? Can I have a motion? Mr. Long? Mr. Reinhardt, any discussion? All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in favor. Any opposed? 1 opposed. That moves us on now to action items. Can I have a motion to approve the resolution for the 2026-2027 bus purchases? Can I have a motion? Dr. Richards, Ms. Davis, any discussion? All in favor? The vote is unanimous. Can I have a motion to approve the Gates-Chili High School varsity bowling team trip? Can I have a motion? Ms. Jennings, Ms. Manchella, all in favor? Oh, sorry, any discussion? Okay, all in favor? The vote is unanimous. Can I have a motion to approve the transportation contract regular school year with Monroe 1 BOCES 2025-2026? Can I have a motion? Mr. Long, Mr. Reinhardt, any discussion? All in favor? The vote is unanimous. That moves us on now to our superintendent comments.
Okay, back up. So I'd like to recognize 3 members of our indoor track team who recently completed at the state championships. Kira P. earned a medal with a 6th place finish in the high jump, and Modesty P. placed 9th at the triple jump, and Bradley S. finished 17th in the hurdles. The athletes were given a spirited send-off to the championships with an escort from the high school drumline. Very exciting. We will do a similar send-off for our bowling team later this week as they head to the state championships in Syracuse. The team won the sectional title on February 27th, beating all large schools by 200 points. Congratulations to them. As for our winter sports wrap-up, the spring athletic season kicked off yesterday with Spartans enjoying the sunshine during their practices across campus. Our baseball and softball teams have even started breaking in the new fields at Spartan Park, as you can see, which will have its grand opening on April 10th. Very exciting. Earlier today, middle school students had a unique opportunity to learn about the art of henna as part of a lesson coinciding with Ramadan. A visiting henna artist demonstrated proper techniques, and students had the chance to practice applying henna themselves. They will continue developing their skills and will eventually create a henna design to give to a teacher. Students starring in the high school's production of Singin' in the Rain will appear on 13 Wham's morning show on Monday ahead of next week's performances. Tickets are on sale right now at gatechili.org/tickets for the shows, which will be held in the GCPAC on Friday, March 20th at 7 p.m., Saturday, March 21st at 7 p.m., and Sunday, March 22nd at 2 p.m. Last week, Gates-Chili kicked off Music in Our Schools Month with a special district-wide instrumental concert, which featured performances from student musicians across multiple grade levels. The final song was also composed and conducted by a GCHS senior, Dante S. It was a wonderful showcase of the musical talent that exists throughout our district. And congratulations to 3 Gates-Chili students who earned top honors at the Skills USA New York Area 1 Regional Competition through the Monroe 2 Orleans BOCES Career and Technical Education Program. Colin placed first in carpentry. Ajua K. earned first place in extemporaneous speaking, and that's a hard word to speak. And Christopher B. took second place in precision heavy equipment operations. All 3 students will advance to the New York State Skills USA Leadership and Skills Conference in Syracuse next month. Junior students Ben C. and Josh L. earned top honors at the New York DECA State Career Conference. DECA is a national organization that prepares high school students for careers in marketing, business, finance, and entrepreneurship through competitive events and leadership opportunities. Ben and Josh will represent their school at the international competition in Atlanta, Georgia from April 25th to 29th, 2026. Also, since our last meeting, 2 of our high school students, Brendan D. and Raymond H., were honored with the Do the Right Thing Award. In August, the 2 were riding their bikes home after cross-country practice when they heard their neighbor calling for help. They stopped and searched the area until they found her in her garage, injured and bleeding after a fall. Jumping into action, Raymond called 911 and stayed by the neighbor's side while Brennan grabbed supplies to control the bleeding. After the neighbor was released from the hospital, the boys came to her house with a bouquet of roses to make sure she was okay. It's really great. At the end of February, I had the pleasure of attending the 3rd annual Black History Makers Read Aloud event at Neil Armstrong Elementary. During the special event, students from Gates-Chili High School visited Armstrong to read aloud to our elementary students and lead a connected activity centered on influential Black history makers. It was a powerful opportunity to see cross-building mentorship in action and to celebrate student voice, leadership, and representation across the district. Yesterday, we had our first session of this year's Budget Ambassadors program. It was a packed house for our first session. We reviewed the district's expenditure budget and how resources are allocated to support programs and services. The second session will focus on the revenue side of the budget, including state aid, local taxes, and other funding sources. And finally, a reminder that there is no school for students next Friday as we prepare for our next Superintendent's Conference Day. Staff will begin the day with professional work time and training sessions across the district. Then in the afternoon, we will shift our focus to wellness with the Spartan Strong Staff Wellness Fair, the first ever. The event will provide an opportunity for staff to recharge, connect with colleagues, and explore resources that support physical, mental, and emotional well-being. Gates-Chili is also hosting the Rochester Teacher Recruitment Day for all Monroe County schools in the Spartan Fieldhouse on March 20th. There will be 30 school districts and 5 universities represented. If you know someone who is looking for a teaching job, tell them to sign up for an interview spot, specifically with Gates-Chili. You can find that linked on our district calendar. And that is all for my report. President Coffey, have a great evening.
Thank you, sir. All right, can I ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting? Ms. Davis, Dr. Richards, any discussion? All in favor? The vote is unanimous. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you.